Okay, Chris here again. I am back with an update on my project for making shoes for Ramsey. Um, this was sort of the latest prototype I had been playing with. I basically consider this a failure, but I guess this is how all my projects go. I have a vision of what I think I want something to do, and then I have to start trying to make it, and there always comes a point when um, the reality doesn't match up with my vision, uh, and that's usually the hardest point to keep pushing through, because that's when you want to just walk away from it and say, to heck with this, I can't do it. And I guess that's where my inherent stubborn streak comes in handy, because I usually will push through and keep going. Um, so I mentioned I was really pleased with the way that this Vitaflex 60, yes, Vitaflex 60, it's this pourable rubber works. It's a really nice, it's tough, but really squishy and comfy kind of thing that I hope will provide a lot of shock absorption for Ramsey, and still be durable enough to withstand the life of a donkey. Um, and I was using this polyvectrin fabric to try and create a cuff to attach it to the hoof wall. Ramsey has very poor hoof wall, low down on the foot, as I mentioned before, down low. Uh, there's not a lot to glue to, so I need a cuff that's going to come up higher on his foot and be able to glue farther up the hoof wall. Um, so this is my second prototype, and this one I'm thinking could work. This on the outside is hot glue that I use to build a mold, a shell, so that I can direct where I want the Polyflex to go. As you see, it peels off pretty easily, and it sticks to, this is just a silicone pad, and these two things stick well together without any adherence, but you can pour directly into this shell. So what I did to start, the first pour I did was with, this is again hot glue. I took my polyvectrin fabric and I placed it inside of here, and I poured just enough of the Vitaflex to sort of glue everything all together and give it a shape. I came back a day later and did a second pour, because as you can see, maybe the fabric, in order to get this shape, had to kind of overlap in the back, and so there was kind of a double layer of fabric back here and a big hole in the front, and I wanted this to be level and smooth and not have any bumpy areas that are gonna leave bruises. So I did just a real thin pour to sort of glue everything together, and then once that had dried and it was set in this shape, then I came back last night and I did a second pour to level everything out and make it a little thicker. So this may actually be too thick, I'm not sure, because I've got a good ½ inch of Vitaflex material, this rubber material underneath there. It's, like I said, it's quite soft and squishy, but also really, really tough. So my goal here is I'm going to trim the back of this stuff. I finally found a scalpel, a brand new scalpel, will cut through this stuff. You can also buy shears that are specially made for cutting these things, but I don't have any. I did happen to have a scalpel on hand because I tend to have some medical stuff on hand for emergencies, but I don't have special shears for cutting Kevlar material. So I'm going to trim the back of this, and I'll be using a acrylic glue to try and glue this to the wall. You have to use one of the acrylic glues on this fabric. You can't use something like Adhere. Apparently the materials don't mix well, but they do mix well with an acrylic glue. So that's the plan. I'm going to try and glue this on after I trim the back of this and trim everything so that it fits his foot, and we'll see how it works. If this does work, I think that this could provide a lot of support and a lot of help for Ramsey, and it also could be scaled up and down to fit any size horse or any kind of hoof you were trying to protect. So that's interesting too. I think this is going to be an interesting experiment all around for those who are interested in hoof care. So we'll see. I'll come back later with an update when we get somewhere else. Okay, hope you're appreciating this, and take care.